Hello rally car fans. So for me this is a really special one. I think this is one of the coolest rally cars ever because I used to own a 1991 Mini Mayfair. And that car literally felt like a go-kart. People write that in articles and all that stuff, but until you actually drive one, you do realize that actually feels like a go-kart. Before that one, I drove a regular BMW Mini, and that kind of feels like a go-kart, but not really. It's a heavy car. So light cars are always funner to drive, I think, than big heavy cars. So the 1967 rally of the Monte Carlo variety, this is the outright winner. This number 177, which is LBL6D. Just curious what it competed against, who it beat out. So let me hit focus here. It beat out Lancia Fulvia, but it beat out 911 Porsche. Down here we have the Renault Gordini, Cortina Lotus, Opel Record. That's interesting. A 2000 Ti. Yeah. A Sunbeam Imp. Oh, they should make a model of that. I don't even know what a Taunus is. Opel Cadet. A DS21. Yeah, interesting cars. I had an SUTT. Very interesting. Alright, anyhow. So, yeah, for such a small little car to beat out larger displacement vehicles, I think it's cool. David and Goliath kind of story. So let's open this up. I reviewed a different variation of this casting with a different, I think it was the very first of the mini Monte Carlo winners. Maybe it was the 1964 one. I'll try to find it later. This is actually licensed by, this actually is approved by BMW. I don't recall that in the last one. Tiny, they make some other larger scale minis. I'll have to find that as well. I'm not sure what Scales and Stories is, but anyways, this is made by GCD. They make other premium diecasts. Oh no. I don't know. You watch my channel, you know, you're gonna fast forward, I don't blame you, but I complain about extra garbage, extra packaging. Why do I need this? It's in a display box. I guess it's to polish a display box? I had to buy this. I have like 100 of these things now. It's just pollution. Ugh. Alright. We have a tension card here. We have some nice images of it running around. Alright, so it tells you on the card exactly. Oh, nice. Gives them credit for the drivers as well. And you'll see it's got the actual front mud flaps going on here. So that's pretty sweet. That's a great photo, actually. I do feel these are great tape tabs, by the way, because you don't need a tool. You can just literally do this, right? So that's wicked smart. Like that. Where things start to fall down is this blister inside of it. Look at this. Why would you want to display your car floating in air and then have to look through a bunch of food packaging, right? It's just really strange. Why would they do that? Why wouldn't they just screw it to the base like other brands? Or even better, just put it in a blister in a cardboard box like Mini GT does. But maybe this has sensitive parts, so they don't do that. In fact, I'm thinking it does have some really sensitive parts. So let me open this up this way. I will say the base is nice. It does... okay, I might take that back, because look, it's a sticker. I thought it was printed on. So this isn't nice, right? Just having a bunch of air pockets underneath something. That doesn't seem good. If it was just printed on, like Inno64 does that, they print on the graphics so they can never have air bubbles on. Look at this. This is just horrible. There's actually like a recess here for a nameplate. That's what's going on there. So this is just horrible. This doesn't look nice at all. Look at this. Now I have a big dent down here. They should have just printed on this thing here and just skipped the whole road thing if they're not going to print it on. Oh boy. So that could have been a whole lot better. All other brands are doing a better job. And then, yep, so it's nice that this protects the model and got it to me safely. But look, I mean, you're just going to have a model rolling around inside of a display case, banging around if you ever pick it up. Like, right? So you literally have to now glue it down to a piece of paper that might fall off, right? So that's just, I don't understand the logic of this. Correct me if I'm wrong. You know, maybe you love this idea. I complain a lot because I'm hoping some people from these companies see my videos and try to do better. This is literally this is literally worse than what other brands are doing. Much worse. Okay, let's look at these images of it at the Motor Museum, British Motor Museum. I want to go to this museum just so I can see this car. Yeah, very nice. Got the mini lights there. This one doesn't have they took the mud flaps off, I guess, for the museum. You notice this giant rear backup light. And it's got the slot type lamps, which really, I'm already noticing that's lacking paint or something is off there. So now this casting does have the mud flaps, as you can see. Yeah, so that's good. Yeah, but it doesn't have the tire rack up there. In fact, I didn't bring up any with the tire rack. Yeah, that last photo is just cool. I was plowing through the snow. So there's the image I wish I found earlier. Mud flaps and the tire rack and the light covers. Right, so this basically is that photograph. That's what they're going for. Very cool, very cool. Let me just hit focus on the photograph, focus on the model. Compare as you wish. Go out of order today because look at these tiny wheels up here with the four recesses, or yeah, for the holes, I guess, that the lug nuts would go through. A little center cap is raised, and then when the tires nice and rounded, high profile aspect ratio, and it does have a tread on them, so that's nice. So you look at this rack, it is so delicate looking. I can't even, I gotta zoom in. I have a suspicion it's photo etch metal. It has to be, right? I literally think there's maybe a glue residue. Where's my pick? Yeah, maybe that's glue holding it together. Oh, I almost broke the thing. Oh boy, so yeah, that tire is also a little bit, I don't want to touch it. It'll totally bend and break off. That is exceptionally delicate. I mean, look at my paint on my fingers here. This is so thin, much thinner than a toothpick. GCD, that's very impressive. Very impressive. Nice photo etched metal piece here with red on the back and the whole rally badge there, all in legible. And it's actually kind of not crisply painted. I don't know if that was intentional, but it looks used like it was in a rally. So maybe it's just poor paint quality, but it actually makes it look better, I think. The treads are weird though. I think I recall that from the last review. Have you ever seen a tire with a tread like that? That wasn't in the Tron movie or something? That's a really futuristic tire tread. Okay, so now we have the front windshield. We have the defroster lines here, and then we have some silver and paint around this thing. It's a molded window. We have photo etched metal wiper blades. They're very small. Yeah, that's pretty good. I like how it bridges, you know, the gap into the casting. We have a nice crisp license registration plate there. I think that's the British Motor Corporation logo, BMC. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then we have plastic mud flappy thingies here. And then what's going on? Some paint, glue residue? Luckily it can flake off. Maybe that's the vapor if they use crazy glue. Yeah, that could be it. I'm glad I can get rid of that. So what I suspect, you know, they're not going to just throw these molds away. They're eventually going to come out with this casting again without the mud flaps and maybe exposed headlights. And then they're going to come out with it again, maybe without the roof rack. Although, no, there's holes here, so I think it'll probably always have the tires up here. Oh, but then again, the other casting, well, I don't know. We'll have to see about the other ones. Okay, well, we have some nice clear headlights. I apologize for always losing focus. These things are really small. Looks like a light bulb back there. The bezels, silver, very cool. And then you got the S there for Mini Cooper S. And unfortunately, the actual thing below it, I can't read that. Yeah, I think there's supposed to be text there. It's also supposed to be sticking out. It's actually a physical badge on the real car. So it would have been neat if they molded that in to stick out and just hit it with silver paint. But then they probably realized they couldn't get the S and this black thing printed on easily. This is, I suppose, is meant for the the leather strap. That's the steel part. This should be brown down here, crossing over to keep the hood down, or the bonnet is it called in England. So Lucas lights, we got the covers on, and then, whoa, what's going on here? Like, what the heck is this? It's like a weird, I guess that's the bar that's supposed to hold the lights. I'm not sure why it's not flat. It's just like all erratic or something. The grill back here, though, looks pretty good. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if this is a photo etch piece, because look how sharp all the vents are, right? And I think that's got to be an inserted piece of metal. And they left this open. That's the hand grab, I guess. Yeah, I do see an opening here in the real photograph. Then we have a photo etch metal skid plate here. Very neat. I do feel like maybe there's supposed to be some holes or vents here, but I can't say for sure. And then I guess these are the turn signals. They're just clear. Oh, that glue is really annoying to look at, right? On the real car, they're just white lenses with orange bulbs behind them, so I guess the clear plastic makes sense. Going to the side, this is really difficult to hold because it's so small. Alright, so the wheel and tire clearly are the same as on the roof. This one, I might have to press that on a little bit better. It's just so small, I don't know if I can fix that. I'll tend to it later. This thing, what the heck is this thing? I have a suspicion it's a reflector on the real car, but I don't see it on this part, the photos I pulled up. So maybe this is going to be for a regular road going vehicle later on, and they'll paint that. I don't know. Anyways, the black on the fender flare seems nice. I don't know why, though, there's all these dents in it. I think maybe here the body seam goes through, but why is there a dent here and here? So that, and here is weird. It's not on the back fender flare. I don't know what they're thinking. We'll have to see what the other side looks like. Maybe it's just a poor casting. The exposed door hinges looks good. The raised painted silver door handle. This is nice and crisp. We have the sliding windows here, a little raised plastic there, and some silver for the molding. Yeah, so that carries through this back thing, connecting maybe there. Truthfully, there is supposed to be a silver strip running down this whole thing, but that would probably cause more problems than looking nice. Again, I almost feel like it looks like this, trying to put in the body screw areas for the fender flares. They're just not, they either should have made them more obvious or just not have them at all. Fuel filler here, painted silver, and then the chrome bezel for the taillight, but unfortunately the taillights don't really have much color. Like, that's horrible, actually. I mean, that's such a small amount of orange. Like, what's going on with that? What the heck happened here? And where's the red part of a taillight? Wouldn't that be the largest block of color you would see in taillights? So, I don't know why this is happening. They should have just molded these in red or orange or something. The clear just isn't working, right? Or they would have to paint these things. So that's a really strange taillight. Doesn't match at all. Nice to have the registration on the rear. Is this a decal? I don't know what's going on here. Why is it so smooth and rough here? Nice badge again, photo etch piece. This is a tampo of the S. That thing is a handle, just raised. Could have been raised more. This is I don't know what this is. Oh, this is for the light that shines on the license plate upwards, but it's actually black on the rear photograph I pulled up. So that could have been different. Alright, molding here. The second fuel filler looks good. The central exhaust tip, a little bit of a recess there. And then the bumper with these little bumperettes. I do not see that on the rear photograph, these bumperettes. So I have a suspicion this is meant from this is for a road-going car. And they didn't want to make a new mold. So it's not 100% accurate, but it's pretty close. Anyways, they also managed to at least make a separate part for the giant rear-facing light. Would have been even cooler if that was clear. Okay, so mud flaps here, pretty thick plastic. That's fine. No, and then the front. I guess it didn't run any here on the real car. So sadly, there's a lot of yellow. Not sure why that yellow would have ended up here from the tampo print process. It's very strange. It's odd. Well, it's a rally car, so I guess it got dirty and it hit a can of paint along the route. Okay, so this all looks fine. That looks fine. Yeah, so the tires on this side are better. What's the bottom of this thing look like? You'll see this windshield is actually sticking out of the frame a bit. I'm curious if I can push that in. Yeah, being a wet molded thing, that's just the way it is. Alright. Sadly, they don't actually mold in the text of what this vehicle is. Right? Forget all this detail. Just right here, Austin Mini Cooper Mark 1 or something. Right? And then again, those tires are so strange. They look like tires that an octopus would design. Okay. So now, this is actually nice. Look at they did etch away like the oil pan and the transmission case here, but I do question if there should have been vents there. Separate front bumper, of course. Well, I guess it does roll. Hit focus. Makes a weird noise from those treads. It seems far too delicate to be rolling around as a toy, though. Yeah, just touching that. So looking at some other cars, here's that earlier 1964 winner, I think it is. So you'll see it doesn't have the roof rack. It's got a light on top instead. It has only three auxiliary lights. It has bumperettes in the front. So a lot of differences actually. It's got totally different wheels. And those taillights are just as bad. So the taillight choice is just horrible. They should have just molded them in red plastic or even painted those things. Would have been better. Just painted plastic. Yeah, alright. Anyhow, still pretty nice though. Green light, they did a couple minis as well. Here's a road racing one. I don't know if this is a real livery. And there's just a normal street car. Not named Desire, but... see? Painted taillights. Those actually look better than the clear ones here. They're just red. Red and orange. The graphics here, not so great compared to real clear plastic, but if they're lens covers, I guess it's fine. Anyways, the green lights are fine, I think. They've cost far less money, but in certain ways they look better. And then here's this tiny, the 1/50th scale, I think it is. Oh, that doesn't actually tell you the scale. You'd think they would tell you the scale of things, right? Why not just mold in 150? I think this is 150 though, but it's definitely more toy-like. It literally has opening doors, and yeah, you can see it's got a plastic rack up here, a much thicker plastic badge here. Right, molded in, molded in, molded in, but at least that turn signal looks orange, right? And it is nicely printed on the license plate. So it's basically just and with the bigger model, they were able to print a nice chrome thing going across the side of the thing. So that's nice. Nice clear headlights, but this doesn't have clear things there. Alright, look at the windshield. The painted on rear view mirror and the wiper blades. It's kind of funny. So we'll just stick that over there. And then just for size comparison, if you've never seen a real Mini, here's an M3 Touring Mini GT I reviewed earlier. So yeah, modern car. You don't want to, I wouldn't recommend you drive a real Mini on a highway if you get into an accident. Oh boy, those things, I don't think they're really designed for safety back in the early 60s or whenever they were first designed. I think it may even started its design in the late 50s actually. Alright, but anyhow, I do love myself a Mini Cooper. The original ones. I don't really care for the BMW ones so much. So GCD did the best they could with a mold that's not exactly this particular car, right? They had to spread this mold across 4 years of the minis rallying. Whether or not they're going to do the disqualification year, I don't know. And then they're probably going to do road-going versions of this casting as well, because this car did well in road racing as well. So it's smart. They did what they had to do. Highlights is that top rack. It's so delicate looking. And then the fog lights with their nicely printed Lucas text. And then the Rally Monte Carlo badge being a photo etch piece. Very nice as well. The only real issue is just the taillights don't look nice. Everything... Oh, I didn't even go into the interior. I told her you got distracted. Sorry. In case you haven't noticed, I'm not a professional. I'm just sharing the things I buy. Well, I didn't expect to have additional color in here, but yeah, nice. No headrest from a car of this time frame. So the door panels, yeah, there's some details there. The steering wheel is hollow. Let me try this side, boy, it's so delicate looking. The molded windows, though. Alright, so we do have the round center. I guess that's a speedometer in the center. And then a bunch of other things here on the passenger side, the navigator side. So it's possible this dashboard is specific to a race car. I don't think a normal road-going car would have all those gauges in there. Let's see, ribbing looks good. Is there a rear view mirror? There is. I think it's part of the window molding. Okay. And then I thought I saw a roll cage.